Can we land this plane?
You tell me, you're the pilot.
Well, you're the co-pilot.
Shh, we can't talk during this game.
This is Sky Team.
I'm Justin,
I'm Jen, and
and we are Board Games After Bedtime.
we are parents with young children, two sons, and we game after the kids go to bed.
Sometimes one just woke up, like not even
Yeah.
10 minutes ago.
We have our monitor over here. We're listening. We'll pause if we need to. And bear with us because we've never made a YouTube video. But we thought this would be a good chance to.
Show parents that, and other people who might have crazy work schedules or just crazy lives, that even once, like, you start to relax and everything, you can still do things that you love. Might not be board games, might be vegging out on the TV. For us, it's board games,
And,
and
and we don't get to do it all the time,
no,
but it definitely is nice to have a night where we're not doom scrolling and we actually get to have conversation between each other that's not related to kids. Even though we'll probably talk about our kids, but
yes,
not related to parenting at least. And we get to just like be adults and use our brains about something other than taking care of children. So we are playing Sky Team. Sky Team has been rated on the top of the charts for two-player games for a long time now. Many avid board gamers, Sky Team has been on their list for a long time. But if you're new to the board game community, maybe if you're looking to venture outside of Monopoly and all the classic board games, Sky Team is a great place to start. Um, and it's nice that it is actually made to be just a two-player game, which
yeah,
is kind of rare for a board game.
yeah. And one of the cool things about Sky Team is it's a cooperative board game, and so typically, before I would say that we really got into playing board games and collecting board games. As much as I pains me to say that, and not playing all of our board games, but I feel like my perception of it was that it's just head to head or a versus kind of style
Competitive. Yeah.
competitiveness, yeah. And to find a game that's cooperative, especially for us, we play with each other. It's a really great time where we don't have to be competitive. We can just enjoy each other's company and try and beat the dice, the board. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's also probably a good game to play with somebody that has a hard time losing. um, if we all have people in our lives that we cringe a little bit playing board games with, and playing a cooperative game can be kind of a good middle ground. You know, since you're in it together and they can't get too mad during the process.
yeah,
Um, but to give you a quick rundown, and if you already know the rules to the Sky Team, feel free to fast forward through this. I'm just going to do a very quick synopsis of it. But honestly, Sky Team does a great job in their rule book of laying it out pretty simply. So, not too bad. So, basically, you have a pilot and a co pilot that are trying to land a plane. And so, you're doing this together. Right here, we have our I guess elevation. No, this is elevation.
elevation. Yeah,
This is just our tracker
it's
to the
our,
airport
it's like our itinerary is what they call it.
itinerary.
Yeah,
So this is your itinerary to the airport. This is your elevation. And so along the way, there are other planes in the path. You do need to remove those planes as the itinerary progresses. So you have your axis. This is kind of like the tilt of the plane. The goal is to keep this horizontal as much as possible. You also have to have it horizontal when you land the plane in order to land it safely. This is your speed track. Is that what we call it?
yeah, speed. Yeah, speed.
Yeah, I don't know the exact
Speedometer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
But
true, but
so this is kind of like a range that you use. So here's your engines, and the dice that you put on the engines you add together. And if your sum is less than the blue marker on the speedometer, then you don't move your itinerary. If it's between the two trackers, then you move the itinerary one. And if it's more, then you move it 2 times. And so that's really important because you don't want to be at the airport before your elevation is ready to land. So it's really important that you don't just like progress too quickly. Plus, you can't collide with any planes along the way, so you have to remove these as well. So that's part of the strategy. This is the brake tracker. This is only for the pilot. So any of the spaces that are blue, the pilot can put dice on, and any that are orange, the co-pilot can put dice on. And then down here, these are split, so either of us can put them on there. So for the brakes, these are the brake slots that the pilot can put dice on, and the numbers, you can only put those numbers on those spots. So not all 3 brakes have to be deployed in order to land the plane, but it's a good idea to try to get them deployed because on the very last round of the game, you add your 2 speed dice together, your 2 engine die, and the sum has to be less than where your brake tracker is. So if it's at 6, you have a much better chance of getting something less versus if you're still at the 2. And then down here, these are kind of extra spaces. You can put your extra dice here. And if you do, you get to put one of these on here. And this allows you to concentrate, which just means you can add one or subtract one from any of your dice if you need it to be something different. So, and either of us can use them.
yeah, and you can use all 3 of them in one go. If you have all 3 in here and you need to use them, you can use all 3 to subtract or add 3 or yeah, subtract or add or 3.
Yeah, so it's kind of a good idea to keep a flow going there so that you both have a reserve to pull from. Now on the pilot side, like I can only do the brakes, but something that's unique about the pilot is that I have to control what is this called again?
Landing
The
gear.
landing gear.
Yeah.
So I have to control the landing gear. It tells you the numbers that can be on your die when you put them in the slots. The pilot does not have to put these in order. Once you put a slot, you slide it over to the green. Same thing with the brakes over here. Whereas the co-pilot, they are in charge of the
flaps.
flaps.
And so the way the flaps work is I have to be sequential. So I have to roll either a 1 or 2 to turn this on. Then I'll have to roll a 2 or 3 to turn this on, 4 or 5, so forth. Um, the other thing that the co-pilot gets to do is I have 2 radio calls out, I guess, which means that if I, for instance, put a 3 here, I could take 1, 2, 3 and remove a plane
From the third slot.
from the third slot. If I were to roll a 1 or a 2, if there's any planes in there, we need to clear them before we land.
Yeah.
And the pilot does also have one, but
Yeah.
it's really falls onto the co-pilot.
Yeah.
And different from how we normally play this is it's usually reversed just from where we sit.
Yeah, I'm usually the co-pilot.
Yeah.
And you're usually the pilot. So this might be actually the first time we've ever played the reverse role.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous. We're usually pretty good at this, so
we'll see. You guys are on a ride with us.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I know I mentioned some of it, but in order to win the game, which means that you've landed the plane safely, your axis has to be horizontal. Your speed has to be less than your brakes. All of the flaps have to be deployed. All of the landing gear has to be deployed. And you have to have your Airport itinerary. So you have to be at the airport and your elevation has to be 0 in order for you to land successfully.
Yep.
There is a version like if you're at the airport, but your elevation is not all the way to 0, that means you're like hovering over the airport. And so you have to like play another round.
No,
But
it's a lost game.
no, it's a last game if your elevation is 0 and you're not at the airport. That means that you've crash landed.
No, because then that means we missed the runway.
No, to look at it.
Hang on. There's a lot of ways to lose this game.
Yeah. So if you're at the airport, but you're not, your elevation hasn't reached 0.
Oh, yeah,
then
my
you're in
bad.
a holding pattern and you must play 1 or more rounds without advancing further on the approach track. So you have to reduce your speed. So you have to keep it underneath this one in order for you not to advance.
That's my bad.
Oh, that's okay. We usually try to get there right at the same time.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to worry about that. And then the last thing is just this little token is on, it tells you which ones it needs to be on which elevations, and you can put those here. And at any time during the game, one of us can grab this for a re-roll, and you can just choose to roll all of your dice again, or you can roll just a couple of your dice again. And both players have the chance to re-roll if they want. Oh, and I guess the most important part of this game is that we can't talk.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we could talk. We just can't talk about the game. We can't talk about strategy.
Well, you can talk about high level strategy. By that means like prioritizing things.
Like, we need to get this down,
Yeah.
or blah, blah, blah. We can't be like, you need to put a 3 here and I need to put a 6 here. You can't say those things. And during the play, you can't talk at all about what you're doing. We could talk, just not about the game. And so you can't debrief or talk about large scale strategy until in between
rounds. Yeah.
So these are your little shields to prevent each other from seeing your dice.
From seeing dice, anything like that. And then, yeah, so.
And this is the first airport. It is the Montreal Trudeau. Not sure if I'm saying that right. So this is like the easiest airport in the game. There's several airports that you play. They get increasingly harder, but we're just doing the base play here.
I was trying to see if I could grab the flight tracker, but I don't think I have it around me. The flight tracker is basically a log that they give you, and you can track all of the different flights that you've done and completed. There's a ton of them. They get more challenging as you go forward. There's different rules that get added into some of them. There's weather. So I'm sure we will be enjoying those airports eventually. But yeah, I think.
Let's play.
Let's do it.
Oh, and it does tell you on your elevation who has to play first. So the first one is blue. Oh, no. You have to place dice on your axis and on the engines every round. All right. So we're going to take our re-roll and
Move this down 1.
yep. And our sum is 8. And so are we supposed to do this right away?
Yeah, we probably played that wrong.
Yeah, we probably played that wrong, but it's 8, which is in between, so we do need to move it down 1. And we have 2 concentrates. I don't know. I think that's what they're called.
Coffee cups.
I mean, yeah. So there you go.
Which we're old now, so we drink decaf coffee at night.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a new thing, you know.
Caffeinated coffee gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
That's sad. Oh, I did forget to mention, because we both had 3s here.
Oh yeah.
The axis did not need to move. So, if one is bigger than the other, then you tilt it. When you subtract the 2, you move it that many times. So you have to be really careful with the axis. If it goes all the way to too far, that turns it into a roll and you lose.
Yeah. For instance, if that was a 5 and this was a 3, we would go 2, and if it was a 6, we
would lose.
Lost the game.
Yeah. So that is important. Speaking of pilots, we recently flew Southwest to California, and the pilots were so nice to our son. They let him like go in the cockpit and sit in the seat and look at all the buttons, and he almost started the plane and she was like, no.
But turn off real fast.
They were super nice. So if you're flying Southwest, I'm sure other airlines are the same, but just ask them if they can meet the pilot, and they do. Oh no, I heard the monitor. Let's check. Our kids are battling. Our oldest is battling a cough, so it's been a bit of a challenge. We'll see how long that lasts. All right, so co-pilot's turn.
So I put a 1, and I'm going to move that to
10. No, we got pause. Okay. We'll keep. Oh. Okay, we'll keep playing for the time being. All right. Wait, when did it move to?
What was that? Oh, it was at 8. This was put wrong this last round. It was on the 9.
No, it was here.
Oh, was it? Oh, then I must have bumped it on accident.
Okay, let me see here.
I'm going to call 2 and remove that plane. The brakes over here. Type moves. You got to move that side.
Oh, sorry, I was doing brakes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you might be hearing our dog dreaming. Okay, so 4 plus 7 is, or 4 plus 3 is 7, so this moves down 1.
All right, cool.
Oh wait, I
This
have to
one.
do my last die.
Oh,
Um, just gonna add some more concentration. All right.
all right. Definitely planes.
Yeah, we gotta remove some planes for sure. We gotta remember our concentrate down here and our reroll.
Yeah, we've done this game before with just like never re-rolling, and we probably could have used it a few times.
Yeah. What did Kylo tell you on your walk?
Oh, we were on a walk. We walked to this. We call it the rocks. It's just like these big boulders that are in the park that he likes to climb on. And we were jumping across the rocks. It was during my lunch, and he said something and started laughing. And I asked him what he said, and he was like, "I'm just joking." And I was like, "Okay, but what did you say?" And he was just like, "It's a joke." And I was like, "Okay, what is the joke?" And he's like, "I'm just not gonna joke with you anymore." And then he was just like, "I'm on my joking rock, so get off." I still don't know what the joke was.
Hmm.
Definitely take that off. It doesn't add a fourth concentration. It's just
Yeah.
I had to use my dice.
Okay, so we definitely have to watch our landing gear and our flaps and the
Yeah.
brakes. Make sure that we make progress.
Yeah, we got 4 rounds technically left.
Oh shoot. Okay, you accidentally have to use my re-roll because I think I accidentally flipped over a die that was not where it was originally.
I'm gonna reroll. Okay. Oh, it's my turn. I'm gonna place that one there.
This. Okay. Go. 5. I'm going to use a concentration to make it a 4. Increases.
Okay.
Yours were supposed to be done in order.
I am doing them in order.
Oh, you already did that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Oh, I still have one more die.
Oh.
I'm just going to have to go here. All right.
So planes.
Yeah.
Planes.
Do we get to take this now, or do we move past it?
I would assume we have to move past it.
Let's go with that.
Planes and brakes.
Brakes. Probably, yeah. It's my turn first. Okay, so I'm going to use a concentration to go down 1 and get rid of a plane. Here.
Okay. I'm going to use a concentration to go up 1. Move this plane.
Okay. Here. And oof, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go extra. Going down. All right. Looking decent.
Yep. My flaps are all done.
Just have landing gear and brakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing okay. All right.
It's my turn. Put a 2 here and remove 1 plane.
I told Kylo today that his eyes looked funny because he looks sick, and he's been very upset that his eyes look funny.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so now he keeps asking me if his eyes look funny still.
Are they weird eyes?
Oh no.
I think I might need to use the reroll token. Huh. All right, I'm going to use it. I'm going to re-roll 2 dice. I will explain why I did what I did in between rounds for all of you. I'm just going to do... And I'm going to get us another coffee. Concentration. 9, so it drops down to 1.
All right.
All right, well, we still... I'll explain why I did what I did. So I had 2 1s, and I did not want to put Jen having to have a 6.
It actually came in handy anyway for me because I knew we needed to move that plane.
Yeah, and I was like, there's not enough concentration to get a 3 to a 6 if she even had a 3. So I didn't want to risk it.
Solid plan.
All right. Breaks.
Yeah, we need some breaks, and
we got to stay straight.
Yeah.
And we got to roll less than the amount of breaks.
Yeah, which we need to be aware of our axis on this round. Because we are now in the final round.
So we got to stay straight. Nobody wants to land a plane like this, you know?
All right. Pilot first.
The other day we were in the mountains, and having boys is kind of a wild ride because they just go pee wherever they want. And there's been some stories, some very public places, and it just happens. But Kylo was going outside to go pee. Well, there's some like eagles flying around, so I was filming those. And he was peeing in the snow, and he was just like, "Oh, my pee melts the snow."
If you're a fellow boy parent, you probably relate to that.
It does melt the snow.
I'm going to use 2 concentrates to lower this to a 3. And I think we won.
Yeah, we did win.
Let's check. Our axis is straight. 3 plus 1 is 4. That's less than our brakes. All of the flaps, all of the landing gear is deployed. I think we're good.
Yep.
We did it.
Landed the plane.
So that is Sky Team in a nutshell. And again, that was the easiest airport. But again, if you're somebody that is new to what we call the craft board game world, I think Sky Team is a solid choice to start with. It's also just kind of a fun, quick game. And I just love the simplicity of the board.
Yeah, I will say that it is a quick game once you do the setup for the board. This was a very in-depth process. I don't know if that's the right terms, but it's
You mean
long.
assembling the
Yeah,
board?
like assembling the board
Yeah.
was longer than I would say like normal. It's not like something you fold out and here you go. Once you do it though, it's like good to go.
Yeah. Because you have to like, there's like sticky tape that you have
Yeah,
to stick
so
things
like,
together.
and then this, sets in, this back piece gets pushed together. And so I would say that that probably took the longest because you got to punch out everything. And
Yeah, which is pretty standard for a lot of
yeah,
board games these days. But for sure, if you're looking to play after bedtime, if that's when you're squeezing it in, if you have kids like us, or if you work late and you're, squeezing it in at that time, you may want to consider assembling the board at some other time before then, or just know that you're going to need to take some time to do that.
yeah, I mean,
But once it's done once, you don't have to do it again.
yeah, and it's the same board for every airport, and there are different altitude trackers. So,
Yeah. So let us know in the comments. Do you have SkyTeam? Have you been looking at SkyTeam? Now that you've seen it, is it something that you would want? We'd love to hear from you. And we are a new channel. We would appreciate your follow, your subscribe,
comments,
your
likes,
comments, likes. We're on Instagram and TikTok, Board Games After Bedtime. So please go follow us. We appreciate it so much. And we're just enjoying doing this journey so far of taking our love for board games and sharing it with you all, especially those of you that are just starting out or those of you that are just parents looking
yeah,
to do something other than put your kids to bed and doom scroll for 3 hours,
or
because I know I do that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we all do that.
Yeah, which is not bad, not a bad
Yeah,
thing,
it's got
but
it's got a place
it's
in
got its
life,
place. But it is good to switch it up and to use your brain, because
and
sometimes as a parent, you just don't feel like you use your brain for a whole lot more than wiping butts and making snacks.
yeah, yeah, snackzillas. But yeah, like Jen said, this is for me. It's a great like place for us to reconnect, um, as partners, as husband and wife, and so I definitely think that for parents especially and for people just working a lot or just busy, it's a good place to reconnect. And maybe Sky Team is not the game for you, but there are other games we will be playing, other games that we really love. For Sky Team, this is for sure in my top 10 of
Yeah.
board games to play, and hopefully you guys stick around for the ride and all of the board games that we review, and you can experience this journey with us together.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone. I hope you get good sleep. I hope your kids stay asleep all night. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more Board Games After Bedtime.